Hello, everyone. Welcome to the workshop on strategic talent management and strategic business HR. Now, to begin with, just a quick check-in. If I am not audible, do raise your hand, talk to me at any moment, or write in the chat. Uh, Oftentimes, things works out to be good, but then it's technology. You never really know if something doesn't go right. Do bring it to my notice. Well, we do have a decent ground here, which would certainly be a nice score to try and look at what is the best we can try and get out of this session right here. What I would do is I would begin warming up in the topic and in the session. Let me begin sharing a quick brief about who I am and where I come from. So that would give you some idea and insight about in which direction the topic and the webinar today would step into. So my name is Deep Modi. You might have seen my profile on the website and few pages before you signed up for the webinar. I am a doctoral researcher in organization change at Schiff Business School. I hold masters in positive organization development from Case Western in Cleveland, US, and I have my PG in HR from Excel, and I have a few other certifications in labor law, in emotionally intelligent leadership, and to appreciative inquiry. So these are a few areas where I have been trying to learn a little more about and try and share my expertise in with the world around. So what I intend to do in next 30, 40 minutes of the duration today that we have with each other is I would quickly share some brief overview about the idea of strategic business HR business partnering, strategic human resource management, or when we look at talent management. So there's a lot of strategy, which comes into play in terms of the verbatim and then the terminology. But then I think the essence of how simple, basic human resource management operations get extended and transformed into looking at an overall business alignment is something which would be of great essence when we try and step into the conversation. So, before we really step into discussion, here is a quick overview about how the whole group and the whole tenure of this 30, 40 minutes or an hour would move on. I would request participants to keep the video on if the bandwidth permits because it really helps get a personalized feel of talking to people online. Feel free to have conversations. You can unmute yourself at any time, or you might just want to write something in the chat. If there is any query, any questions, or something that comes up which really resonates with you, do feel free to ask at any given point in time. The idea is to try and look at conversations, have collaborative learning. So if required, we can use whiteboards, we can use any other medium that certainly helps us get through the whole discussion today and make this entire discussion a lot more effective, despite being on a digital medium. Of course, it has its own pros and cons. We all have been dealing with digital medium since quite some time now. But then let's just see how best we can try and leverage upon the topic. So, moving on, talking about the agenda for today. Uh, the agenda is pretty simple. What I intend to cover today is a basic understanding of what is strategic HR business partnering, what is talent management, and there are a lot of areas which are overlapping, and a few other areas which are distinct. So how do they interrelate? How are they distinct? How is it different from standard HR operations when we speak about a lot of areas of recruitment or payroll management or compliance management or simple execution of training or whichever of these areas are. So how are core HR operations related from a talent management lens when we try and speak about this idea here? So we would broadly try and cover these areas as an agenda. If somebody has anything else specific which they were really looking forward from the session, do mention that out. Do talk to me about it so I can try and cover that, and let's see how best we can all learn from this session right here. So, gradually stepping into the first topic that we have today of strategic HR business partnering. So, here's a crucial thing that we need to understand. When we speak about strategic business partnering, keeping the word HR aside, HR is a departmental function that we are referring to. When I refer to strategic business partnering, what I speak about here is the idea of partnering with businesses on an entire organizational goal. May it be an HR function, may it be a marketing, may it be a production function, or any other function or department. So let me try and elaborate this a little. Uh, think about this. When I speak about an organization, let's say, for example, a retail organization, which which has a couple of outlets in a particular city. For example, let's take city of Mumbai. So if we have a retail organization which has a small mid-sized organization which has, let's say, about 10 outlets in the city of Mumbai, and as an organizational strategic decision, if they decide to step into another city. This is an example which I oftentimes try and give during my OD workshops because it is highly relatable to OD as an area. But focusing on strategic HR function over here, if the organization takes a decision of stepping into another city and expanding their business, there would be immense amount of shift and changes that would be required at an organizational level across each of the functions that the organization has. Let's say they're going from Mumbai to Ahmedabad as an additional city, so they'll need additional infrastructure out there. They'll need those places, those outlets designed and set up. They would need their supply chain to be set in place. They would need their accounting and finance to be in place with respect to local laws and taxes. They would need their HR department to be aligned in terms of getting the manpower in place, having the same set of employee engagement activities, same set of PMS happening, same set of training happening, all of these HR operational activities happening at another location altogether. So all of these things, all of these departmental functions would follow as a secondary thing based on a primary goal of the organization. So when I say each organization has an holistic goal, we all understand what that is. But when we speak about strategic human resource management, or additionally, when we speak about HR business partnering, it is about HR partnering with business in terms of helping the business enhance. I'll speak a little more about this at length and then elaborate the distinction between all of these terminologies. They are not completely different. A lot of areas are overlapping, but then we'll try and understand the minute details and distinctions that we can try and come up with in terms of getting insight better into it. Coming back to the topic, so if the retail organization wants another office in Ahmedabad city, it has, from an HR perspective, there has to be separate policies to be made, there has to be separate recruitment plan made, they need to have uh, changes in their employee engagement activities where they are not just having some recreation activities for festival celebration, but actually creating those activities by which employees can be a lot more engaged and involved, and the sense of ownership is created. They have all of those activities happening even at a new location that they're stepping into, and various other activities from an HR department operational perspective. So the decision about transforming internal HR processes, procedures, and implementing them and ensuring that the entire execution is smooth, in sync with other departmental functions. My payroll has to be in sync with accounting. Probably my HRIS has to be in sync with my IT servers. What kind of server do we have there? How is my IT team setting up the entire infrastructure over there by which I can ensure that my attendance system, my onboarding system, my entire HRIS and HRMS management system, management information system is all in track and in sync. How do I ensure all of that in sync with other departments and functions? So all of these comes in from a pretty strategic planning and business alignment perspective. The entire area, the entire bucket, it is termed as strategic HR human resource management. Strategic HR management, strategic human resource management is what falls in that kitty. Now, if I take a quick pause here and let me try and share a little understanding about how did this all evolve. How did the whole idea of HR business partnering or HR strategic HR management or talent management or OD as turning out to be the next thing, OD and L&D, what HR looks at as the future apparently. How did this all come out to be? So we need to be a little mindful about the contribution or the importance rather of HR as a function in businesses. So when you speak about these large businesses, let me go a few hundred years back and let me speak about the modern era, the industrial revolution. I'm really not going too much beyond behind that, but I'm talking about the industrial revolution, which began especially in the Western countries when especially after the invention of electricity, we had a lot of machines coming up, and production went up, and a lot of mechanical way of looking at large industries and multiplied production in a quick and faster way. So typically, that is the era which I am choosing to begin with right now in the conversation. Doesn't mean there was no importance before that or after that or whatever. But then this is what I look at as a core benchmarking area, driving the philosophies of HR, which are still prevalent to a great extent. So in those times, the whole concept of looking at business was how quickly do we multiply, how quickly are we able to add on our production capacity, our delivery capacity in a very mechanistic way, in terms of increasing efficiency, in terms of reducing the downtime, in terms of looking at cost per unit per productivity in terms of output. All of these are very mechanistic terms of looking at machines and engineering and all of the technical stuff. Now, the same ideas were apparently also applicable for managing people in those days. I'm sure a lot of us understand this, but then the concept of someone who manages my entire people in the organization was really not too much from uh, driving a human people well-being kind of a perspective. It was in terms of getting the productivity out. We all are pretty familiar with the term of personal management. That is something what we had in the earlier days, and gradually it shifted to someone who manages people grievances. And when we look at human beings as a resource, human resource management, the term is still prevalent. When we speak about human beings as resources, now each resource has a downtime. So downtime was assumed as presumed as the grievances or things which do not matter. How can we manage all of that so people still keep working and still keep doing more and more and more? We have zillion examples of how IR rules and IR acts came into play and industrial revolution, which really fueled all of that in terms of pushing manpower and pushing the laborers in that sense, both in India and in Western countries, pushing them towards a really poor lifestyle, and then they bouncing back, and then the law supporting them, and then all of the entire chaos in the history. But then the requirement of managing people who drive the organization has always existed, but the faces have changed. It moved from personal management to human resource management to strategic business HR partnering. When we are talking about HR department, so so-called HR professionals, they having the capacity of fueling the business. So when we talking about managing people, when we speak about people management, it is not just about reducing the downtime or giving less and getting more productivity out, something similar to what we would do in a machine. What is the least maintenance needed so we can get maximum productivity? It's not from that perspective. It is really understanding people science. It is understanding how do human beings work, organized group psychology, how does it work, and how can we really leverage upon that. There's been immense research which has gone down in the last century or so, where people have been focusing specifically on organized group psychology. And the term that we have is organization development and change management, but that's a separate area. Uh, People have been focusing on that. And that eventually helps us build the concept of strategic business partnering. So in the current prevalent scenario, where business managers look at their employees and the entire organization, they look at human beings and human resources as a function which can help fuel the business, which can partner in the business, not just be a cost center somewhere in the corner. That this is an XYZ cost that I need to bear, I need to manage just to get my things running. They're looked as an active participant which can enhance the business. This is an entire philosophical difference which has really come into play. So hence, when we have these so-called fancy terms of strategic human resource management or strategic HR business partnering, these are not just words. They also speak about the approach that we take. They speak about every little HR operational activity that we take. Recruitment can be as simple as just inviting applications in a newspaper ad and getting them scanned and issuing the offer letters. Or it can include areas like employer branding, brand building. It can include areas in terms of competency assessment centers. It can include areas in terms of proper onboarding and induction, where we really take employees through the journey of getting themselves comfortable in the environment and getting used to the work that they're into. We have OJTs, on-job trainings, and all of that. So we can really take things to another level, by which it can eventually facilitate overall business out, uh, outcome and delivery. So that's an interesting thing. What we need to look at when we are looking at strategic HR business partnering. Now, when we try and move on from that aspect on the current webinar agenda, the second part that we have in mind is about talent management. So again, please stop me if you think it's too quick or areas are not clear or if I have been too superficial about a topic. Do stop me and ask a few questions. I would love to elaborate upon if that really helps. But I'm just trying to touch upon the broad areas so we can discuss at length.
Uh,
Yes, please go on.
Hello, Deep.
Yeah, hi.
Deep, hi, Ram here. So
Yeah,
can we
Ram.
say that in on broad level, strategic HRM or strategic HR business partnering is almost same, or both things are same? There is a lot of overlap between both things,
Well,
or it's there is some distinction.
I would say to great extent it is similar. I would love to say that. What we need to understand is a basic distinction, a minute distinction in the philosophy. So when we speak about HR business partnering, we are referring to human resources as partners to business, wherein they contribute equally at a partner level. However, when we speak about strategic human resource management, it is a little skewed towards top-down approach in terms of these are the goals. How do we leverage upon people management and organized group psychology to ensure that my people and my human resources are aligned to the business goal? So one approach is about considering them as equal partners which contribute, and another is to ensure that this is a top-down approach where we get everybody aligned. So honestly, at the ground level, when we speak about day-to-day activities in the organization, you may not find too much of distinction in the end-level activities. But yes, at a discussion level, at a theoretical level, when you're talking about the topics, for us who aspire to be an expert in these areas, need to know the distinction. So I hope I have answered the question, Ram, if that helps.
Yeah, thank you.
Lovely. So trying to step into the discussion and the area of strategic talent management. Now, we need to understand that we are looking at this from a different lens again. We're looking at this from the lens of managing an entire organization talent. Now, the common misconception is when we look at talent management, oftentimes it is assumed that the word talent is just a replacement for the word employee or human resources, which is not the case. We are looking at an overall talent of the organization. So, I'll give an example. Let's say if I refer to a large construction firm as large as, let's say, L&T. So L&T is a pretty large firm in constructing highways, roadways, and amazing huge structures that we all have seen them capable of doing. At the same time, when we look at a comparatively smaller organization, let's say any local organization which we have, which is also into construction, they may not be able to execute projects as large as what L&T can. Now, it is not just about the size of the organization, or doesn't necessarily mean that L&T has all their engineers from IITs, IIMs, and from top engineering schools and top B schools and everything. The idea is at an organizational level, they have that kind of learning and that maturity in their processes, in their systems, the way manage people, the way they can quickly execute, and not just in terms of fast pace, but also in terms of delivery quality and complexity of projects. They have that level of entire organizational structure which is in place. So this this concept and this idea is looked at an overall organizational level. So if I'm looking at even learning in the organization, I would not only focus on individual development plans or individual learning plans. Talking about an entire organizational learning plan. As an organization overall, are we capable of delivering a certain complex level of project? Do we have that level of organizational learning and capacity? Which is not just about the knowledge and the certificates and the classroom trainings, it is about the practical experience that we have. It is about the internal structure, internal policies, the infrastructure that we have built up, how swiftly things move out in our policies and decision making, and in our SOPs that we have defined in the organization and the hierarchy. All of that put together gives us an end result of a premium quality, and that is when we refer to it as an organizational level learning. So what do I refer to? Talent management, strategic talent management. What I'm referring to here is managing talent of the organization. I am not referring to managing individual employees or group of employees, overall talent of the organization. So broadly, at a distinction level, we can look at this happening at four levels, in four phases. First one, of course, is talent acquisition and orientation. Second would be talent performance enhancement. Third is talent development, and of course, the last one is talent retention. All of these revolves around HR operations that we are looking at. So let me take a few pause and slowly try and elaborate one of these areas. Well, I think I have a message from Megha saying my voice is not clear. I would try to speak a little closer to mic if that helps, and do let me know if it is still not clear. So, talent acquisition and orientation, onboarding. So, when I refer to this, again, there are many different ways of doing the same activity of recruitment, induction, and onboarding. How smartly do we do it? Not just in terms of finding which is the best practice in the world out there, but also trying to understand which is the most relevant practice in alignment with the business need. So I'll give an example. If I'm talking about hiring, let's say, credit card sales executives, for an example, I understand that the attrition may be pretty high at a pretty junior level at a credit card sales executives level. If I am to really try and implement an entire 3 month long training and onboarding process, I am not entirely sure if that is the best act to do right now for those levels. Although it sounds to be amazing that we have somebody coming in and we take them through entire onboarding, on-job training. We put them in different department functions to learn all of these areas and then go out and begin their job. This sounds to be an interesting way of approaching, but is that the best approach in the interest of business needs, or the best approach in terms of for the level at which we are hiring? Now, that is where a very subjective and strategic decision comes in, and it comes in only by the kind of alignment that we look at business processes, the kind of experience that we carry in terms of execution, the science that we put behind. There are various models available out there, various research models in terms of approaching all of these HR operational areas from a different specific function. Let's say if I speak about competency assessment center, we have various psychometric tests and analysis as well, trying to evaluate people, behavioral skill set, their competencies, and all of these are pretty scientific and research based. So, how do we use them in the right fashion to ensure we have the right recruitment and right talent coming on board is again a strategic choice which we need to try and make depending on the organization culture and the business processes that the organization runs. On similar lines, when I speak about talent performance enhancement, now it is a lot beyond just a standard PMS system, standard performance management system, where we have KRAs, KPIs, and all of that. We're looking at an entire organizational performance. So when I refer to any PMS system which has to be implemented, the focus may not necessarily be only on individual performance evaluation. How many people rated 3 out of 5, how many people rated 4 out of 5, that may not be the entire focus on. The focus from a strategic level is to ensure that the organization makes money, if money is the goal, or the organization is performing in whichever goals that they have at an organizational level. So for example, if I refer to, let's say, 360-degree as one of the popular methods of approaching PMS lately in terms of getting feedback, is something what we all are aware of. But is 360-degree and essentially the best way of approaching in every case? I don't think so. It depends upon the culture of the organization, the environment. If I'm referring to shop floor employees of a manufacturing firm, those ground level employees who are actually working on the machines, they may not even understand the importance of 360-degree feedback. If I'm to try and approach them and ask for the feedback for their superiors and for the colleagues, they may not know the right essence and they may not even know how to rate their supervisor. It's about creating that level of awareness. So, despite 360-degree sounding as one of the best ways of implementing, is that the best thing that you can implement on an immediate basis right now in an organization? Or would you want to take it step by step and get an entire organization mature to that level, so you are getting those right practices, and you're leveraging on those amazing models with your organization being ready at it. So you're going step by step. You're talking about entire talent performance enhancement. I read this somewhere when I speak about the role of HR. It can broadly be put in two areas. The first area is to ensure the right people are there in the right place all the time, and second, to ensure that they are doing the job they're supposed to do. So the first part speaks about recruitment and retention, and the second part speaks about their performance and their upskilling. And this resonated immensely with me, that these are the two buckets in which human resource as a function contributes to a business, ensuring right people in the right place all the time, and ensuring those people are delivering at the right levels all the time. And that's it. It's a very oversimplified version of benefits or contribution of human resource function, but that is what is built across from a talent management perspective. So when I speak about all of these four areas of talent development, again at an organizational level, at an organizational learning level, what I described a few minutes ago regarding L&T as an example, or at a talent retention level. Now all of these things are a lens, a strategic lens of looking at my HR operations. If I speak about something as simple as, let's say, my employee engagement activities, something that I spoke about some time ago, employee engagement activities can be one of the HR operational area, but if executed well, it touches on multiple aspects of talent management. It is not only about talent retention, that we're keeping the employees happy so they stay back with those recreational and fun activities. It is about creating the ownership. It is about bringing in those amazing ideas and that motivation, which enhances the performance of the organization as well. It is also about creating the space where people can themselves be self-motivated and upskill themselves, which adds on to the talent development area. It also speaks about having the right references coming in. People would love to bring in their friends who are equally skilled and capable, and that really adds on to my talent acquisition strategy. So, a simple activity of employee engagement and HR operational activity can impact all the four areas in different ways. So, when I speak about talent management, it is a lens by which we look at different HR operational activities. When I speak about, for example, payroll and labor law compliances, now, HR department still has to carry out those operational functions. They still have to ensure those challans are filled on time, those returns are filled on time. But the area which looks from a talent management perspective is, are they getting paid on time? Do they have the right employee services in terms of answering their queries? Do they have the right procedure and processes set in place? Do they have the right salary slips issued to them on time? Only that aspect falls in from probably an employee retention, talent retention perspective. Probably, I'm not getting too much into specifics, but then that's a lens by which we look at it. The entire HR operational background watch which goes behind is still a part of HR operational activity, but from a talent management strategic lens, when we are looking at managing an overall talent, that may not entirely be necessarily be an activity which would need focus upon. That falls into the HR operational functional criteria. If it doesn't make sense, do ask me queries, because I understand these overlappings can get a little confusing. But then that's broadly what the idea looks at. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to spend just a few minutes trying to look at the whole integration and offer some space to people to try and speak about what they may have, and then let's see how the conversation shapes up. We still have some time left in the webinar, by which I would love to answer your queries and I would love to build upon that. So before I step on to the next topic, would anyone really want to try and share something, if that really resonates with you, or some queries that you may have up till the discussion that we have had? I would love to address them first. So again, building upon it, summarizing the idea, strategic human resource management or strategic HR business partnering speaks about getting the HR operations, policies, and all of that aligned to the business goals. And talent management speaks about managing the talent at an organizational level, acquiring, onboarding, managing their performance, managing their development, managing their, ensuring they are retained. All of these activities can be done in a better fashion. So I'll give an example. Let's see if I speak about a talent acquisition strategy. What are better ways of improving it? Again, the specific solution would depend upon the business need. But I'll give you some examples of better ways of doing it. Say, for example, if I really want to hire quality manpower, I can look at evaluating their functional skill set and their competency, both of these from a little more scientific perspective. So how do I do that? Do I go on with any behavioral analysis or competency analysis tests? Yes, I may do that at a behavioral level or a skill set level or a competency level. At a functional level, how do I evaluate? Do I have a questionnaire? Do I have some sort of an in-basket exercise, which is more of a situational exercise? Do I have some questioning? Do I have a random day at work wherein they practice and they execute their skill sets and show how good they are at work and practically evaluate them? How do I do that at a functional skill set level? So all of these are different areas which are practically implementable, and how do you quantify and evaluate the employees or rather the candidates before they are really taken on board. The idea is once you have the right manpower on board, half of your job is done. Now, these are again very ground level, operational level betterments that we can do. At the same time, when we speak about, let's say, talent development, do I have my TNA, training need analysis, done purely based on subjective feedback given by my functional heads or the reporting heads, or do I link it with the performance management goal sheet forms which are filled, or do I actually perform an assessment in terms of what is the cultural goal that my organization is looking at? Is my organization ready? What is the readiness of my organization? What is the current status of my organization in terms of the cultures and the values that we that they are following and that they are living? They're not just written on the walls; they're actually living them. Do I evaluate that from a diagnostic scientific method and then design my strategic approach, my strategic prescription in that sense, in terms of what is the way ahead and ensuring that I achieve those deliverables which are needed? All of these have a better way of looking at it. Now, which specific idea would work for your organization? That depends. There's never one shoe that fits all. But as experts who aspire to be in that shoe, in that level, who would really want to try and gauge a lot more knowledge about it, it is good to have different tools in our bag. It is good to know different ways of approaching all of these areas, and which is the best way of implementing a specific tool and a specific model as in when it comes to it. So what I would do is I would take a moment to quickly share a quick overview on detailed certification workshop that I usually address. It's typically a 4-day workshop, which is 2 hours each in the evening, something similar to this, 7:30 to 9:30 in the evening. We try and get into specific models, specific areas, and specific details of each of these talent management and strategic human resource management aspects and areas. What we also try to do is we also take up each participant's specific organization example, a specific problem statement, and we try and look for a strategic design, a strategic solution in a little more scientific fashion to see what can be implemented the very next day they go back to work. So this is something that we offer typically in a detailed longer duration certification workshop. So for now, we still have enough time left in the webinar, and I would love to open it out to anyone if they have any specific queries or anything that you would want to know more about. So I would love to address that, and over to you.
So, Deep, when is the next workshop has been scheduled from your side?
I think the talent management workshop is sometime in January. The details are there on the website samsaraomc.com. But yes, I just have someone send out an email with the details. I'll do that.
Yeah, that will be great. If you can send it to
Lovely.
all of
Sure,
us,
sure.
it will be great.
We'll do that.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I think the silence seems as a good sign in terms of no queries and everything seems clear, or everything's just absurd. It's either of the two. So just feel free to ask any queries that you may have. I'm going to be around for a few more minutes. Thank you. Well, so I think it has been an interesting session. If you have any queries which come up as an afterthought, do reach out to us on our email or the numbers which we shared to you in the invite link, and we would love to address them. So I hope this conversation did add a bit of value and was certainly helpful to everyone who spared their time and attention. Thank you very much for being a part of the session. Thank you.